kept in by Bonner.
There were two sendings off, but they weren't really terrible tackles by anyone. I mean, Terry Hullett was a bit foolish in lashing out at Tommy Coyne. And Peter Grant, I felt, was for a bit of overzealousness.
10 against 10 should leave a little bit extra room on the field, but such is the commitment of these players that it's still very difficult for anyone to find space to pull the ball down and make a pass. Richard Goff's been penalised this time for the foul in the air on Tommy Coyne, and I wonder if Darius Dobchek fancies his chances once again.
Well, it's certainly within his range, Jock, and probably round about the same distance when he scored his first half rocket.
Just about 30 yards. Rangers showing some respect with 3 in the wall. Dobchek again, this time it's blocked well by Goff. Miller battling with Houstra. Here's Paul McStay. Well tackled by Houstra. Now Miller. Fine play from McStay, and that pass would have been troublesome for Rangers but for Monroe's alertness. Walters is away from Dobchek, now facing Paul Elliott, and Dobchek did extremely well. Showing a good turn of pace there, the Polish international.
Yeah, Paul Elliott slowed Mark Walters up, and it gave Dobchek a chance to get back at him.
Corner kick to be taken once the Celtic players withdraw far enough. Headed away well by Rogan, straight to Ian Ferguson. Goff hitting it wide for Nisbet. He started his career at Ibrox as a striker, so he's not unaccustomed to being in that kind of position. Nisbet playing it across, the layoff from Johnston. There's Ferguson, making that rather too obvious, allowing Joe Miller to intercept the tackle from Houstra. Miller thought he was fouled there by Houstra, so he'll leave that throw to Dobchek. Past the 3/4 mark in the match. Celtic settled on this 2-goal lead, but Rangers still battling on in determined fashion. The long ball would have caused problems had Monroe been able to give some air to that ball. He could have found Mark Hateley in space going through the inside right position.
And Mark Hateley pulls off his defenders very well away to the back post area, and if that ball had been delivered by Stuart Monroe, then he might have found himself in the clear.
Well controlled by Craney, and the tackle from Nisbet was a very effective one. This is McStay and Rogan. Collins to Rogan. This is good play from Celtic in the circumstances, keeping the ball very well indeed. Collins caught late by Stevens. There's Rogan with a cross. Fine handling by Woods. The referee having a gentle word there with Gary Stevens off the ball in view of the tackle late on Collins. A good use of the advantage rule though by the referee. Hateley coming back to challenge Collins. Walter Smith has left the Rangers dugout and may well be going up to have some discussion with Graham Souness. Here's Houstra. Good play by Houstra, tackled by Elliott. Trying to find a way through that ruck of Celtic players. It's a cross from Ferguson to Stevens. Here's Walters. That's for Hateley. Elliott is there again. This is Ian Ferguson. That was well struck and blocked by Elliott. Elliott took the full force of that volley from Ian Ferguson. He's still on the ground as Miller breaks for Celtic. Taking on Stuart Monroe, he may try to go all the way on his own. And the pass going behind Tommy Coyne. Paul Elliott is still on the ground, feeling the effects of that shot from Ian Ferguson. And that means, of course, there can be no offside. He's still there as Dobchek thumps the ball out of play, and that will allow treatment for Elliott. Well, Elliott's contribution there defensively was so important, but there appears to be blood coming from his face. He's taken that straight in the face, that shot from Ferguson, and just look at the blood there from the mouth. Well, he won a very important cross from Walters in the first instance, then threw himself in front of Ferguson's shot, and there's the damage which has been inflicted. What a tower of strength he's been, Alec.
Yeah, it took a thunderous whack in the chest there, just in the face there. He's got a bit of blood coming from his lips there. Yeah, it was a thunderous hit by Ian Ferguson. It looked as if it was going to trouble Pat Bonner at any rate. It was on target, but it hit Paul Elliott full in the chest.
Well, Paul Elliott celebrates his 27th birthday tomorrow, and it looks as though it may involve a trip to the dentist with a look at that damage. And Ian Ferguson, who celebrated his 24th birthday on Friday, showing once again his incredible shooting power. It's not been the easiest of matches for Ferguson so far, coming back after a long spell of injury. Now, it would be very sad for Celtic if they had to do without Paul Elliott, but he's clearly in a substantial degree of distress. And I wonder if he was in fact winded with that shot in the chest, and perhaps took the face injury in the earlier aerial challenge. And he is going to leave the field now. Billy McNeill on his feet. Well, it's a very sad sight for Celtic. He has been absolutely outstanding throughout the match for Celtic. And Mark McNally, I think, will have to come on this time. And that will mean, I think, Darius Dubček going to centre back. Elliott complaining, I think, he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave the field. The doctor is there with Brian Scott, the physio. Still a lot of discussion going on about whether a change can be made as Ian Ferguson shoots again. And it's turned past by Pat Bonner. No, the referee says it's a goal kick. It wasn't saved by Bonner. So here's Johnston playing the ball across for Ferguson. Shooting the ball there, and Bonner at full stretch. I thought initially he'd got a fingertip to the ball. So change is now being made. Stuart Munro is going off, and on comes Tom Cowan, but Paul Elliott has returned to the fray. Well, he's had a change of jersey. Tom Cowan has come on in the midst of all that to replace Stuart Munro, who may be labouring just a little after the long layoff. But there's the change for Rangers. The second substitute committed. Paul Elliott has insisted on returning to the fray. There's Cowan, former Clyde player, cost £100,000, the youngster. On at left back for Rangers. Stevens with the header. There's Rogan forward. Now Trainee. Through the gap it goes for Tommy Coyne. Nisbet was quick and alert. Good play by Nisbet.
I think it was just an oil change. Paul Elliott went off over there. I think you'd have to shoot the big man to get him off this park today.
And no way inhibited, and he goes for that high ball with Hateley. Neat play from Johnston. There's Rogan. Coyne stepping away from Stevens. Miscue there by Collins. Houstra has Walters over on the right, but Derek White is quick enough to turn that back.
The Celtic defence looks sure-footed today. They've been criticised this season, but they just look as if they've been playing together for a number of years. It's very solid, good understanding. Of course, matching with big Paul Elliott.
Cowan turns it back to Chris Woods. Well, one thing that is remarkable is that Chris Woods really hasn't had a great deal to do by way of making saves, although Celtic lead by 2 goals to 0.
That's right. He's been beaten by 2 fantastic goals.
Mark Hateley's in trouble now for Rangers. For persistent infringements, he is being booked. And Mark Hateley saying, "You come to me if you want." And he persistent fouling as he's challenged Paul Elliott in the air. Players, I think, always very ill at ease when they're summoned to a referee from a long distance, and that was what Mark Hateley was indicating, I think. That is an element of frustration, Alec, is it not, for professional players?
Yeah, yes, I think we've all been through that at one time or another. I've been guilty of it myself, falling foul of the referee with a few harsh words. But see here at the moment, that's the way the game goes.
There's the elbow used by Hateley, which certainly appeared to be a foul, and because it was by no means his first, he's been booked. A wrestling match there involving Coyne and Stevens. Walters thumps the ball against Tommy Coyne, and referee Andrew Wardle being forced to call upon all his experience now to handle what has turned out to be an incident-packed match. Well, the Celtic bench will be concerned, I think, simply to retain this lead till the end. They have 13 minutes plus stoppage time to survive if they're to knock Rangers out of the cup. Paul McStay with the free kick. He's in no particular hurry. Playing it up the line to Rogan. There's McStay taken out of the play by Johnston. Well, that would certainly incense the Celtic supporters. The former Celtic player, Maurice Johnston, going in heavily on McStay. There's a little feeling out there in the field involving Johnston and Paul McStay. A few words being exchanged there also. Great dummy there by Coyne. Here's Craney. Coyne is onside. I think he was hoping there for a corner kick. Not taking the ball to the corner flag in this torrid atmosphere really is taking a life in your hands. Coyne has survived though, and Celtic have the throw. The ball was carried over there by Collins, that's why it's a goal kick to Rangers. Oh, time running out, Alec. Can Rangers do anything about this now?
It looks beyond them. I felt that Celtic, the way they started the game, it looked beyond Rangers even at that early stage. But Celtic, a couple of silly things just creeping into the game at the moment. Jock, tempo's getting a wee bit frayed. A couple of late tackles off the ball.
Mark Walters is in trouble. It could be very serious indeed. He made one very rash tackle a moment before. The referee allowed Celtic the advantage rule, but after the ball had gone, Walters clashed again with Tommy Coyne, and he too has been ordered off. Sheer mayhem here at Celtic Park as Walters follows Terry Harlock and Peter Grant up the tunnel, and we'll see why from this incident here. There was the initial clash, Walters and Tommy Coyne. Now Walters got away with that, but that was the second attempt. Now the incident was not yet over. It was after that Walters continued the chase on Coyne and committed the offence which resulted in the ordering off. So here was the chase. Walters continued there. There was Tommy Coyne, and there was the elbow and the collision there, which resulted in Walters' dismissal. Well, he certainly didn't make the task too difficult for referee Waddle with that act of folly. So it's 10 for Celtic against 9 for Rangers. It's 2-0 to Celtic, and time is rapidly running out. Richard Gough is pushed forward to join the attack. It's all or nothing now for Rangers. Houstra plays that to the near post, but it's stopped by Bonner.
Yeah, as I said, I felt there was a couple of silly things creeping into the Rangers players' play. Matt Walters, just before that incident, had kicked the ball off Tommy Coyne's legs out in the far touchline. Okay, they're frustrated, they're 2 goals down, but they've got to learn to keep their head. And experienced players like Mark Walters should know that, especially players like him.
That was Ian Ferguson going in heavily on Paul McStay. And the Celtic supporters in the stand reacting towards Graham Souness in the director's box. With every Rangers tackle, Graham Souness is certainly having a message conveyed then by these Celtic supporters as Craney tries to break. Well, Graham Souness chewing his gum there, looking very solemn as you would expect. In a very unhappy Scottish Cup occasion once again for the Rangers manager. And there's more trouble over on the far side. Now what's going on here? The linesman is involved. Anton Rogan clutching his face. Mark Catley was in the vicinity, and the linesman George Kerr is now explaining to referee Waddle what happened. Now Mark Catley has already been booked. Richard Gough is across, so is Paul Elliott. Rogan is going to be booked for his part, but it looks as though Mark Catley is going to be ordered off. If he's called across at all, and if he's involved, he can only be shown one colour of card. He's been called back by Andrew Waddle, so it's a booking. Is it, or is it a red card for both? A yellow it is for Rogan, and it's a red for Catley. The long walk for Mark Catley. He lost his head without question as the game wore on. And the inevitable result is an early bath for the England international. So now it is 10 against 8. Rangers with 3 men ordered off for an off-the-ball incident there. Mark Catley clashing with Anton Rogan after the ball had gone, right in front of the eyes of linesman George Kerr from Larbert. And the referee Waddle left with no option at all once again, and Rangers clearly now have completely lost their heads. It's a real tragedy for the game, there's no question about that, the fact that things have developed as they have. The tension's running so high in a match of this intensity, and Rangers clearly with that 2-goal deficit and things not going their way, beginning to lose their heads. There's Coyne playing it forward. Over on the near side here is Joe Miller taking on Tom Cowan. Cowan was quick enough. Well, the big hope now, Alec, really is that we can get to the end without any more trouble on the field.
Yeah, well, there's been 4 sendings off, but I don't think any of them have been for particularly bad fouls, or it's not been a dirty game. It's just been petty, silly things, and probably from players who should probably know better.
Well, Peter Housetrott replaced Trevor Stephen early in the match, but he's had very few chances to demonstrate his skills. So much has been the dominance of Celtic at the key phases of the match. Backing in by Craney on Gough. Here's Ian Ferguson. And I hate to introduce one other point to these proceedings. These sides meet again 1 week from today in a league match. And of course there will be suspensions affecting all the players ordered off this afternoon. It is also quite remarkable the fact that among the Rangers players, all 3 who've ordered off are Englishmen. So they've been introduced to this torrid Scottish occasion, and the result has been that they have become so embroiled in everything that they've finished up being ordered off. Well, that's good play by Miller, taking the ball for a stroll now, rather. Brought down there by Houstra and Cowan. So a sea of Celtic scarves behind Chris Woods now. Well, these Celtic supporters showing the scarves there. They're clearly satisfied now that Celtic are going to go through to the semi-final. So 4.5 minutes left for play, plus any stoppage time, which referee Andrew Waddle feels inclined to add. I have the feeling too that there won't be too much demand on the part of the Rangers players for that to continue when the deficit is 2 and not 1. easy from the Celtic supporters as Rogan plays it forward. There's Gary Stevens. It's controlled well by Goff. Now John Collins. This is Coyne. Rogan. Coyne forward for Collins. Across goes Richard Goff. Tackle came from Collins. Well, the chanting and the singing and the cheering coming from these Celtic supporters inside the 53,000 crowd. And once again, it looks as though the Rangers Scottish Cup jinx continues. They last won the Cup 10 years ago in the replay against Dundee United. The longest barren spell, though, of Scottish Cup failure was way back out in the century when they went 15 years without winning the Cup. It looks as though it's going to be at least 11 now, unless they can produce a miracle with their remaining 8 players against the 10 of Celtic.
Well, Joe Kirk criticised the players earlier on for getting a bit het up in this atmosphere, but then again, I've never played in an Old Firm game, and the tensions are extremely high, and the stakes are also high.
This is Rogan. Now Collins. Back with Derek White. The offside flag stays down. Here's a great chance for Critty to make it 3. Holds his head in anguish. Chances don't come any better than that in Old Firm matches. Well, this would have set the seal on an excellent performance from Celtic and from Jerry Crenny. He was onside here as he collected that. Played the ball wide of Woods and wide of the post.
Yeah, just bobbled a wee bit at the last minute for Jerry Crenny there, and just as he was about to shoot, just took a wee bobble and made it play wide.
There's Cowan with Miller. It's back with Richard Goff. He's tried very hard, it's fair to say, as the Rangers captain to keep things under control. Nisbet has to play it back to Woods. Bit of elbowing there by Haustra while the ball was in the air. So it's calmly retained by Derek White and back to Bonner. Here's Rogan. A long way back to Bonner. It's only a question now for Celtic of seeing out time safely. 1 minute plus stoppage time to go. Goff's header. Craney was the culprit there, barging there between Goff and Nisbet. So Cowan giving the free kick to Richard Goff. Well, Andrew Waddle didn't reckon with this. His first Old Firm match, he's ordered off 4 players. The first, perhaps the most controversial. That was Peter Grant. A second offence in charging a free kick before it was taken. Then an easier task of Hurlock had a swipe at Coyne off the ball, and Mark Walters lost the head too with Tommy Coyne, and ending there with Haithley clashing with Rogan. Here's Dubček. And Crenny trying to direct the header on target there in front of goal. But the happier aspect of the match has been the play of Celtic, especially in that first half when they scored through Jerry Crenny and then Darius Dubček. The task in defence for Celtic now looks to be easy with Rangers so depleted. Well, pulling in to survive right to the end despite a heavy injury.
It was a brilliant start by Celtic to the match that set the tone for the game as far as their performance is concerned. A super little goal by Jerry Crenny, and from then on it was going to be Celtic's day.
Well, there will be a man of the match award, and it will be very difficult to see past Paul Elliott. Well, there are a number of contenders, and this afternoon it turns out all wearing green and white, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can really fault any of the Celtic players' performances today. And you could have picked maybe any one from a bit, well, in fact, the whole 11. Apart from Big Packy, he's not had much to do.
Ian Ferguson getting a word from referee Waddle for that tackle on Miller. Celtic retain possession. There's Rogan. Good running by Collins. Across goes Nisbet. Well judged tackle. And he wants to throw, but he's not going to get it, Nisbet. Nisbet too has lost his head, it would appear. There's protests there towards the referee, resulting now in a booking. Gary Stevens too showing his frustration. In the meantime, the Celtic players can look on calmly. They're surely now through to the semi-final of the Cup. It's Rangers who've had all the problems this afternoon. Problems in terms of matching the Celtic play, problems in terms of discipline. Celtic now still retaining possession as they probe for a third. Here's Dubček.